we talked a little bit about Allie last week, and I had a couple of things I wanted to ask you about after talking to her. She had mentioned that she had decommitted, and you were recruiting her, and she was playing for a small school. And I was wondering if you would talk a little bit about the recruiting process with her and how that went. And she seemed to think that her school was way too small, and that she wasn't well recognized. But what was the recruiting take on her when y'all were doing that?
I wanted to comment on a few things. I was listening to her last week when you talked, and she was very humble and modest about herself, I thought. And there were a couple of things that I thought she could have said that she didn't. But she did kind of come to us late. She had been committed to Colorado State, which is a really solid program. They've done some really good things lately, and she was committed to them. Her travel coach, a man named Dave King, reached out to us and said, she's going to decommit, and I think she's worth looking at. And he doesn't call me unless it's real. So we thought we could use a little bit of depth in the class, as far as arms went. So I flew out and watched a high school game and met him for dinner afterwards. And I guess the rest is history. We really did not see her throw a ton, but her accolades were unreal. I mean, I think she was the player of the year in Colorado 4 years in a row. Yeah. I mean, from her freshman year on, like her accolades were incredible. And while Colorado softball is not the best, it's still strong. They have some good players. So I just thought she was selling herself short to you pretty significantly.
Yeah, I know players tend to do that. They're trying to be careful. What did you see when you saw her in that prep game?
I just thought she was super competitive. I think they played a doubleheader. She was just super competitive, and I just thought she had a big upside. Strong kid, threw hard. I knew she hadn't had a ton of technical instruction. So I hoped that with some technical instruction, she could really become something great. I think she had a lot of question marks from both herself and the world coming in here, and really had a lot to prove. And I think she has truly lived up to the bill. And, I talked to her in the very beginning and said, this is going to be a little bit longer process. You're going to have a little bit of patience. Some of these other kids have been a lot more polished and, have a lot of things going for them right from day one. But your time is, you're going to shine in a year or two. And, we're seeing that now. Her stuff is truly electric. I mean, she has so much movement, so much velocity. I think we're just at the beginning of what she's going to be. So.
And the mental toughness has to be there to be able to come in on a game 3 with the series in the balance and pitch like that.
It would put her in a lot of very tough spots, a lot of really challenging spots. I can't say we've ever had a closer. I've ever used somebody in that kind of function before. But she's kind of like that for us. I guess I've had it one other time. Maybe it's been 15 years now since that's happened. Howard reminds me of that one sometimes, but other than that, I've never really seen that happen, but she's just so well suited for it. And I think we found it by accident last year. A couple of times we brought her in and she just dominated, so I think it helps her mentality, honestly. She doesn't have time to think and kind of get in her own way. She's just got to come in and execute and get us out of it. So I think she really likes that spot that she's in.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to comment on when you said who does what in the bullpen, she's the glue of the bullpen. Like, she's the glue. She's the one that is encouraging people, cheering for people. She brings energy. Like, she's the one in there. MB is our leader. She's our veteran. She tells people, like, you stand here and you do this, and this is how we're going to act. And she upholds a standard. Allie is the encourager, the hype man, the energy. She's what makes us a staff. Like, she's what makes it, it's competitive, yet it's like we're all pulling for each other. That comes from her and what she does. And I didn't think she was giving herself enough credit. When you asked her who's the leader the other day, she is a huge part of the leadership.
Okay, well, good. Excellent. Now, the Florida series, give me kind of a where you think y'all are at now after the you grinded out two victories in the last series, and where's the team now and going into Florida, and what kind of challenge is Florida? I mean, they're always very good. I guess every week in the SEC you're facing that.
I think the big thing with Florida is they're not going to give you anything. You're going to have to earn everything you get. They're not going to make mistakes. You know, they always play great defense. They limit their mistakes with their pitching staff as well. So I think you're going to have to earn what you get when you go there. So you're going to have to go there and play well and have a good plan against them and execute it. I think our team is capable of doing that. I think we have played well lately. I think we're continuing to grow and build. I think it's tough to get confidence within the schedule that we're playing, but I think there's some spots where we're gaining confidence, you know, on the mound, defensively, within some competitive at bats. I think there's some spots where we're gaining confidence. And while, of course, we're not playing perfect softball yet, we don't need to be, you know, until later in the season, but we're playing competitive softball and we're finding ways to win. We showed how we can win in a lot of different ways this past weekend, you know, so I think we're showing we have some diversity, different ways to win, and we'll do our best to be prepared, you know, to go to Florida.
I know it's been a long time, and I know coaches, I don't know if they hate being asked about going back to the place they played, but is there any of that for you? Are there family members still there, or is there still a family feeling with some of the people at Florida, the administration, the coaching?
Yeah, without question. I mean, it's still really cool, I think, to go back. You know, they're not as nice to me as they used to be. When I was at FIU, they thought I was great, but now that I'm here, they tell me I'm a disappointment because we are competitive, you know, but it's fun, and it's not so much family, but it's friends and, you know, some of the same staff, some of the same people, and it still just has a different feeling about it than anywhere else you go. When you go back to there, it was home for a long time, you know, so it still has a different feeling. So it's still really exciting to go back there. We're having a brand new stadium this time, so it's going to feel even more different. And every time we go, I guess you're a little bit less connected, you know, but it's still really cool going back, and it's still, I really enjoy this trip a lot.
Kind of along the same lines, I know you've taken your team there, I guess this may be the fifth trip every other year maybe, and you've seen a growth in their program. And like you said, the stadium has been renovated, but you're trying to build something that Tim has built. You know, he's won 2 national championships, and they're you know, him and Murphy have done a great job of their program. And you're trying to, is there a part of you trying to emulate some what he's already established?
Well, he's done a phenomenal job. There's no question. I mean, he's very detail oriented. I had a chance to spend some time coaching in the pro league with him on the same staff. So, you know, he's a great coach. He's done great things. Like I said, he gets his teams to win all the time, not just some of the time, not just some years, but they win consistently day in, day out. So he's done a great job. So they always bring a really big challenge for us. But it's a challenge that's really enjoyable. It's fun. The matchup is exciting. I think, not just because I like going there and it's, you know, a fun trip to go on, but just it's fun to try to find the strategy against someone like that, you know, and it's fun to try to challenge your athletes to beat a team that's got so much history and is so historically good.
As a former, you know, as an alumni and as a former letter winner, I know you take great, you know, pride in what they've established. I know you don't care this weekend what they've established, but can you kind of tell me the balance of just from afar what you do appreciate about what they've built, because you were part of that, but now, you know, you've got to try to figure out a way to beat them.
Yeah, no question. I mean, what they've done there is incredible. And as an alumni that was there, I played there in year 1. So the first year they had a softball team, you know, I played in the first 4 years of the SEC. So seeing the growth of that program and what they've established, it's hard not to be proud of what they've done. And then just watching the SEC as a whole from day one, you know, it's really neat to be here and back in it and be part of it again. But, you know, just watching what the SEC has done, it is incredible. There's no chance I could have survived it with these athletes and these players the way they are now. I would not have gotten to play. You know, I would have been getting water for everybody on the side, right? But it's incredible, the growth of it, and it's so cool to still be a part of it. And it makes me feel a little bit like an old lady, like I remember when, you know. But it is really a special feeling. And again, you know, I hope Florida does well all the time, except for when they're playing my Tigers. You know, they're definitely my second favorite team out there. But it's all about who my first favorite team is. And, I was at Florida for 4 years and I've been at LSU for 10. So my loyalties are definitely with the Tigers year round.
Is your name up on in any of the boards or anything, all conference or all academic? I just wonder if you still have a part of the history, the early history.
He does a really good job of honoring the alumni. When we went back before, there were a couple things. I don't know what the new stadium looks like at all, but he does a really good job of keeping the alumni involved and a part of it and making us feel important. So he does a really good job of that.
You mentioned finding different ways to win recently with Hightower in the circle, and their pitching staff was the ERA of 1. Runs may be at a premium, and just discuss the stretch, having to maybe find a scratch a run across because she doesn't give up a lot of runs.
Yeah, and we've talked with our team a lot about making sure every at bat is productive, and that'll definitely be, a focus this week is making sure that we don't only have a strategy for how to get hits off of her, but we have a strategy for being productive within every at bat. And, we're making sure that we're making the most when we have runners on base and getting them in scoring position and then trying to do our job there. But definitely we understand the numbers and the things that they've done well. So we will, hopefully have a good plan to make some good numbers of our own.
With that in mind, I guess it accentuates things in nature that defensively, you obviously got to be very tight. You can't if it be kind of a if you hit and run or just something where you have to manufacture something. I don't know how many balls you can put over the fence against people like her, but just how just how it just shapes up as far as you just can't make errors, and your pitching will have to be as good as it's been all year.
Well, we can't go there thinking we can't make errors. We've played that kind of softball and it is very ugly. We've already seen us, we have seen us do that. So, we'll just try to go there and be confident and try to keep it at our pace. I think that's important, trying to, I think the coaches can dive into what the other team does. Our team just needs to dive into what LSU softball does and make sure that we just do what we do well. And keep sight of that, and then let the coaching staff kind of worry. If we ask one of our kids to do a job at the plate or execute something, that'll be on us, and they'll have the skill set to execute it. So it'll be up to us and when and how we're going to use that stuff. But hopefully for our team, they can just stay focused on playing LSU softball. They played a great schedule. It won't be different taking the field against somebody that's that highly ranked or with those kind of numbers. We've done it multiple times this year, as much as anyone in the country, I would think. So I think they'll be comfortable in that spot, and then us getting young kids to experience all these different places around the SEC, getting them to see the Gator fans and the feel of the stadium and all those things. Everybody brings a little bit different style, a little bit different niche to each stadium and each place we go. So getting ours to understand that and compete within that environment will be a challenge.